We were in Kisumu, on Lake Victoria, and this morning would be devoted to birding on and around the lake. We had a 7 a.m. prompt departure from the very comfortable Sarova Imperial Hotel and negotiated the morning traffic down to the waterfront. We parked on a road, bordered by apartment buildings. We couldn't see the lake. It didn't look very promising, but we were wrong. Yellow-billed kite was almost the first bird seen, followed by pied crow, an unsurprising sighting in this fairly urban environment. This was better. Black-headed gonolek was a lifer. This bird was very active and we were lucky to be able to grab these record shots. What a fantastic bird. A female red-cheeked cordon bleu actually lacks the red cheek patch, of course. The edges of the lake were lined with impressive papyrus reed beds. This papyrus proved to be a good spot for several species, including this Carugtha's sistercla. The power lines held an impressive selection of swallows and martins, starting with wire-tailed swallow and the very smart lesser striped swallow. The odd-banded martin crept in, like this bird at the far left of this bunch. It was great to find Angola swallow here too. While good old barn swallows were also present. Back down on Earth, expected marshland birds included spur-winged lapwings and Hadada ibis. A distant view of the lake, actually the Kavirondo Gulf. This little inlet had great egrets and a splendid malachite kingfisher. Common bulbuls were joined by black-headed weavers. We'd seen these first yesterday at the Ahero rice farm, but these were much better views. hammerkop was being pretty secretive. A second bird flew overhead. Perhaps rather unexpected in a fairly urban environment was this long-crested eagle. The roadside vegetation also held this blue-headed kukul, a triptych and a lifer for us. And another seed-eater, this time Reichenau's. A couple of female-type village weavers explored the grasses and a winding sisticler showed up in the reeds. It was non-stop birding. Would we actually ever get to the boats? A plain martin adorned the power lines. Oh, we were back in dodgy territory with this species. Our guides named them as Fisher's lovebirds, and they certainly looked the part. What splendid little birds. eBird does not admit the possibility of any purebred lovebirds in Kenya, calling them all hybrids, so this species and the yellow-collared lovebirds we saw in Lake Naivasha are persona non grata to them. We choose to believe the expert birders on the ground. These are Fisher's lovebirds for us. No such problem with the speckled mousebirds, of course. One was collecting material for nest building. Our first woodland kingfisher of the trip posed nicely. Power lines can be very handy. Though sometimes they perch in trees. As do African sacred ibis, apparently. Southern banded groundling dragonflies were everywhere here. And we came across a couple of Gregory's blue-headed triagamas in the trees by the water's edge. The male in particular was a very smart lizard. This green-throated sunbird refused to show his green throat to the camera. A better sport was an eastern plantain-eater that flew into the top of a small tree and stayed put a while so that everyone could see it. Butterflies were quite common here. This lovely one was white-barred acrea. Unfortunately, this Nile monitor would not come out for a good photo. We were getting closer to boats, not necessarily our boats though. No, we still had more birding to do. Speke's weaver and swamp flycatcher all had to be looked at and appreciated. This is a female northern brown-throated weaver, rather nondescript except for the striking eye. Definitely not nondescript was this red-chested sunbird. Migrant spotted flycatcher was joined by slender-billed weavers, the only ones we were to see on the whole trip. This species is pretty much limited to the Lake Victoria shoreline in Kenya. And speaking of single sightings, this was the only time we would come across yellow-fronted tinkerbird too. We made our slow way across an open peninsula, with market stalls selling fish and other sundries, towards the boats, pausing briefly to enjoy a black-headed heron at the top of a tree. Here we would embark on our boat trip. A little later than ideal, maybe, as the lake waters were beginning to get a bit choppy, but we really couldn't have rushed the avian delights of the Lake Victoria waterfront. For more information, see our 3-volume travelogue, in ebook or paperback format, from Amazon. Why not check out our Australian birding adventure series? Find the videos on our YouTube channel and the travelogues on Amazon. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. Don't miss the other videos in our Kenyan birding safari series.